I'm hyper aware if I'm out and I sense somebody
Me too.
is not really right or something could
Yes.
happen. I go, let's get out of here.
I'm
Why?
like way overly sensitive.
Something tells me I shouldn't be here.
Mhm.
I'm gonna leave. I do that.
Yeah. Or when I'm walking down the street, I'll always have like one headphone out. I'm always looking behind me. I'm like, if somebody comes
You
up
should
with a
always
knife,
do that. I don't understand why people are always with headphones crossing the streets.
and they're like looking at their phone.
Yeah, what if you?
And I'm like, I could snatch intrusive
Well,
thought.
not even
I'm like,
that.
I'm
But
gonna
how about a
snatch your
car
purse.
hits you? You can't even hear it.
I know. Yeah.
Why do people wear headphones while they're walking?
I don't know.
One in, one out.
I know. Anything. Someone could be calling at you like, oh,
You dropped
there's
your
a
wallet.
tsunami. Get out the way. You know?
Yeah.
You never know.
They'd be saying, you were Mary from Winchesters. And then you wouldn't hear it. And they go, she's an asshole.
Yeah.
She didn't even respond.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Yeah, tweets about it, goes viral.
But when
I'm
did it start getting
canceled.
better for you? The anxiety? Take years?
Definitely. When I came to LA, it was a whole new set. I've never had like a lot of social anxiety. And then when I came out to LA and I was meeting new people, like, the pool of especially child actors when I came here is just so small. So I'm like, if I make a bad impression on somebody, like everyone's going to talk and whatever. And I would text people like over and over again to make sure that they liked me. It was so, now that I think about it, I'm like, ugh. I feel like I just made bad impressions everywhere. I have no idea. Sometimes when I'm sleeping at night, I'll overthink that. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I say to that girl when I was 12? Like, did she know that I was having a bad day? And
I still have things haunt me to this day about ways I acted that were perceived wrong, or maybe I just kind of was a little bit of an asshole.
Yes.
Or whatever, or bad day, or the way I still think of those things.
Me too.
And all I could do is be a better person and not let that happen again.
Exactly. And I think that's what has helped my anxiety a lot, is like definitely talking about it, listening to Bob Marley, but then also telling.
What's your favorite Bob Marley song?
Waiting in Vain.
I was gonna say, I want to be loved.
Could you be loved?
Could you be loved?
Yeah.
Be loved. Yeah,
that's a great one too. But I think what's really helped is kind of like rationalizing stuff like that, or like being able to like sit down and even writing in your notes, like just rationalizations, because anxiety is so irrational, obviously. And just being like, okay, I'm thinking about a time when I was 12 that I talked to this girl and I maybe gave her like a look like that she could have perceived as me being mad at her. What am I going to do about that? It's like, okay, well, now she's grown, probably doesn't give one shit about you. It's like, okay, cool.
And you are.
And I've grown. And even if she thought that I was mean or at that moment, like I'm not 12 anymore. Now I'm 24.
And she doesn't know who you are now.
No, exactly. So like just like rationalizing stuff like that, and just like, even though it sounds so stupid, because yes, obviously those things are true, but it really helps to like really convince yourself and the counsel in your head that like it, like rationally, like it's really not that deep. And I'm also not the same person I was like last week. Like everyone is constantly growing, and
you're changing because you're 24. They say, I don't know if they say women or they say people in general, but change every 5 years.
Yeah.
Like every 5 years. So the woman you'll be when you're 30 is going to be different than you are now.
Yeah. And I'll be cringing at all the shit I'm doing.
But you can't be. You have to just know that this is who I am right now.
Yeah.
And this is.
It's just crazy though that now, like in this era, in this generation, especially the next generation, that everything is documented.
Everything.
Which is really scary.
And I thank God that most of my life I didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I could just do what I want and just enjoy life and not.
I know.
There was a simplicity to growing up, in the 80s or 70s, 80s, 90s even. And just, and I really feel bad for
Me too.
people now who are just growing up with phones and everything they know is, and there's no connection. There's no, and we, that's talked ad nauseum. So it's not something that, we can get into, because it's like, people love their phones, and I love a lot about my phone, but there was something special about not knowing what something meant and having to figure it out, or not knowing what something was and having to figure it out, or saying, I'll meet you at the theater at 7 because we have no phones. Be there. I hope you'll be there.
Yeah.
There's something exciting about that. And just, when you were hanging out with friends, you just talked about stuff or what, there was just
very much so.
Yeah.